Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Welcome to episode 3. Let's get started. Our first word is above, which is an adverb that means in, at, or to a higher place. For example, my brother lives in the apartment above. It is also a preposition that means in or to a higher place than, over. For example, our plane was flying above the clouds. Our second word is abracadabra, which is an exclamation, meaning a word said by magicians when performing a magic trick. It is also a noun that means language, typically in the form of gibberish, used to give the impression of arcane knowledge or power. Our third word is abradant, which is an adjective that means having an abrasive property, effect, or quality, abrading. It is also a noun that is a material used for grinding as emery, sand, powdered glass, etc., and abrasive. Our fourth word is abrade, which is a verb that means to wear off or down by scraping or rubbing. For example, using sandpaper, Bill was able to abrade the rough edges of the wood into a smooth finish. Our fifth word is abrasion, which is a noun that means a scraped spot or area, the result of rubbing or abrading. For example, falling off your bike as a child can result in small abrasions on your knee. Our sixth word is abreast, which is an adverb that means side by side, beside each other in a line. For example, the path was wide enough for two people to walk abreast. It can also mean up to a particular standard or level, especially of knowledge of recent developments. For example, many people have multiple sources of online news to keep them abreast of current events. Our seventh word is abridge, which is a verb that means to shorten by omissions while retaining the basic contents. For example, authors might need to abridge their books to keep them from being too lengthy. It can also mean to reduce or lessen in duration, scope, authority, etc. For example, Jeff tries to abridge the amount of time he spends at the office. Our eighth word is abroad, which is an adverb that means in or to a foreign country or countries. For example, she is studying abroad next semester. It can also mean spread around, in circulation. For example, there are rumors abroad that the company is in trouble. It is also a noun that means foreign countries considered collectively. For example, the soldiers are returning from abroad. Our ninth word is abrogate, which is a verb that means to abolish by formal or official means, annul by an authoritative act, repeal. For example, to abrogate a law. It can also mean to treat as non-existent, to fail to do what is required. For example, the employee was accused of abrogating their responsibilities. Our 10th word is abrupt, which is an adjective that means sudden or unexpected. For example, an abrupt departure. It can also mean brief to the point of rudeness, curt. For example, the customer was abrupt with the waiter. Our 11th word is abscond, which is a verb that means to depart in a sudden and secret manner, especially to avoid capture and legal prosecution. For example, the accountant was caught at the airport before he could abscond with the company's money. Our 12th word is absence, which is a noun that means state of not being present or away. For example, the student's absence was noted. It can also mean lack, deficiency. For example, the absence of proof. Our 13th word is absolute, which is an adjective that means free from imperfection, complete, perfect. For example, the absolute truth. It can also mean not mixed or adulterated, pure. For example, absolute alcohol. It can also mean free from restriction or limitation, not limited in any way. For example, absolute freedom. Our 14th word is absolve, which is a verb used with an object that means to free from guilt or blame or their consequences. For example, the jury absolved the defendants of their crimes. It can also mean to set free or release, as from some duty, obligation, or responsibility. For example, to be absolved from one's oath. Our 15th word is absorb, which is a verb that is used with an object that means take in or soak up by chemical or physical action. For example, the sponge absorbed most of the water. It can also mean to swallow up the identity or individuality of, incorporate. For example, the empire absorbed many small nations. Our 16th word is absquatulate, which is a verb used without object. That means to flee, abscond. For example, the cashier absquatulated with the funds. Our 17th word is abstain, which is a verb used without an object. That means to hold oneself back voluntarily, especially from something regarded as improper or unhealthy. For example, he abstained from eating chocolate. Our 18th word is abstract, which is an adjective that means thought of apart from concrete realities, specific objects, or actual instances. For example, an abstract thought. It is also a noun that means a summary of the contents of a book, article, or formal speech. For example, an abstract of her inaugural address. Our 19th word is abstruse, which is an adjective that means difficult to understand, obscure. For example, an abstruse philosophical inquiry. Our 20th word is absurd, which is an adjective that means utterly or obviously senseless, illogical, or untrue, contrary to all reason or common sense, laughably foolish or false. For example, an absurd argument. Our 21st word is abubble, which is an adjective that means bubbling, as while cooking or boiling. For example, the whole house was filled with the pleasant aroma of the soup abubble on the stove. It can also mean characterized by intense enthusiasm or activity. For example, the store was abubble with last-minute holiday shoppers. Our 22nd word is abuilding, which is an adjective that means in the process of building or being built. Our 23rd word is abundance, which is a noun that means a plentiful or oversufficient quantity or supply. For example, an abundance of grain. It can also mean affluence, wealth. For example, a life of abundance. Our 24th word is abusage, which is a noun that means improper use of words, ungrammatical language. Our 25th word is abusive, which is an adjective that means using, containing, or characterized by harshly or coarsely insulting language. For example, abusive remarks, abusive behavior. It can also mean treating badly, mistreating, especially physically. For example, abusive handling of animals. It can also mean wrongly used, corrupt. For example, an abusive exercise of power. Our 26th word is abut, which is a verb used without an object that means to be adjacent, touch or join at the edge or border, often followed by on, upon, or against. For example, the piece of land abuts on a street. It is also a verb that is used with an object that means to border on, to touch along an edge. For example, their property abuts our land. Our 27th word is abuzz, which is an adjective that means buzzing. It can also mean full of or alive with activity, talk, etc. For example, the company was abuzz with rumors about the new owner. Our 28th word is abysmal, which is an adjective that means of or like an abyss, immeasurably deep or great. It can also mean extremely or hopelessly bad or severe. For example, the quality of their work is abysmal. Our 29th word is abyss, which is a noun that is a deep, immeasurable space, gulf, or cavity, vast chasm. It can also mean anything that seems to be without end or is impossible to measure, define, or comprehend. For example, the abyss of their grief and sorrow. It can also mean, in ancient cosmogony, the primal chaos before creation, the infernal regions, hell, a subterranean ocean. Our 30th word is Academe, which is a noun that means the academic environment or community, academia. It can also mean a person living in, accustomed to, or preferring the environment of a university. Our 31st word is academia, which is a noun that means the environment or community concerned with the pursuit of research, education, and scholarship. Our 32nd word is academic, which is an adjective that means of or relating to a college, academy, school, or other educational institution, especially one for higher education. For example, academic requirements. It is also a noun that means a student or teacher at a college or university. Our 33rd word is academy, which is a noun that means a place of study or training in a special field. For example, a police academy. It can also mean a secondary or high school, especially a private one. It can also mean an association or institution for the advancement of art, literature, or science. For example, the National Academy of Sciences. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.